Hey everybody, welcome back. Assuming you've come back. If this is your first time here, welcome all the same. You're in for a real treat. I use the word treat ironically. The TAFY Podcast stands for This Ain't For You, and the reason we say that is because we started this podcast just as a personal project between the three of us. We, the intellectual superpowers. Again, you got to stop with the irony. Started this as a way to discuss things that were interesting to us, and we had these conversations all the time and decided it'd be interesting to record them for a change and to put them out there with some kind of purpose. And hopefully there's some other people out there that find them interesting. Probably more than not, people won't, but that's not the aim of this. This ain't for you if it's not for you. We start this rambling discussion on the topic of time travel. At least that's what we intended to do. We discuss implications, ways that it's been done in films, different films that we enjoy about it, and then the conversations tend to wander off a little, which is what we encourage. We use it as a starting off point and then see where it takes us. And in this one we discuss films, things we've done in the past that we might take back, some things that we wouldn't, what would we do with time travel, and other things that we find interesting. So we're still in the run up to COVID Christmas 2020, so what else have we got to do, really? Thanks for stopping by. I hope you find something in here of interest, and if not, check out some of the other episodes. No sponsors, no housekeeping, just straight into the TAFY Podcast. So we're a man down on this one. It's just going to be me and thee.
Yeah, man down.
Well,
He's the least interesting anyway. He's not going to listen. It's not the same insulting him if I don't think he's going to listen. We can really, really insult him to try and compensate.
Just once this is finished, we'll just phone him up and say, hey, right, we slagged you off right good and proper on the last one. You've got to watch it.
He might do that. He'll be commenting. He'll be slagging us off.
He's gonna report this video.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how long we can play nice.
It's like him to hold a grudge as well. He never forgets.
Like a vindictive elephant.
I punched him in the face once by accident, and I'm sure he's biding his time. I've punched Robin in the face once by accident as well. I've got a bit of a track record.
What? Is it the same? Is it the same MO?
So Ryan, I don't remember why I was like waving a punch in the air kind of thing, and he walked out of the study straight into my fist. And Robin, there's a bit from I think it's The Fifth Element, and it's like the most ridiculous fight scene, and Mila Jovovich, she like beats a guy up, and she does a kind of punch over her shoulder, like flings an arm back.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking about it, and I don't know why I was acting this out on the top of a bus when we were at school, so it's a while ago. And Robin like leaned around my shoulder to see what I was doing, and I went bang and punched him in the face. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. The thing is, I can picture Robin's reaction. It's been very banal. It's like, you just punched me in the face there.
Were you there when him and Fletcher ran into each other?
No.
It was hilarious. I'm just horrible. One of them was running. I could see down a street, so Robin was running straight up towards me, and Fletcher was running straight across, and it was like a 90-degree bend. They were both approaching, and from an unbelievably from so far away, I could see it happening. You know when you just look and it's like slowly getting towards the topic. You know, Minority Report. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
So he takes one of those wooden balls that gets spat out with the crime on.
Yeah.
And he rolls it around the curved desk.
Yeah.
And then the other guy catches it at the end, and he's like, "How did you know that was going to happen?" It was exactly like that. So you could see it rolling around, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. And it just went bang.
You did nothing.
And, I think I did nothing. I just stood and watched. I think Fletcher bust his nose and blood everywhere. Yeah. It's a Minority Report.
So leading
Make
in,
the
you know,
list.
that's going to be the last question about time travel, which is kind of the topic of this episode of the podcast. Is, you know, if you could do, what would you do with time travel? And I'm guessing you probably wouldn't take any of those stories back. You wouldn't. You'd just go back to watch the collision all over again, firsthand.
Well, I'd thought about this. I'd imagined before you'd suggested this topic, quite recently, I'd had this idea that what if you could time travel by just remembering something, but you'd remember something so vividly, and you could sort of be back in yourself at that time, but not just sort of metaphorically, but literally. So if you pictured a state of mind so clearly, then you would like embody it. You would be at that time, and then but you couldn't. We'll maybe get onto it. There'd be no free will. Then you'd just be living through the same thing again. You couldn't change anything. It's just like you could position your pointer to this point.
Yeah.
But where I went with that is the things that you'd remember vividly enough, it'd have to be a perfect memory. You'd have to remember everything so clearly to be able to do it. So the things, it'd be like when you got caught with your trousers down in the or whatever. It'd be the most shameful, embarrassing memories of your life. These are the points that you could time travel between.
This is an interesting version of hell that we were.
I'm just in this hell loop. I keep waking up in like the most embarrassing, shameful moment of my life, and then I live a day with everyone mocking me, and then I wake up at the same point again. Can't change it.
Kind of a Groundhog Day kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when you step back into this this memory, this moment, like do you have knowledge of the stuff that's coming ahead? Or does...
Yeah, so I find that really tough. So in my mind, I was imagining that I could take everything I know now, take me as I am now, in my mind, and then it'd be back there, and I'd travel through to a memory as a gateway. That'd be the star point that I could reach by remembering something so perfectly. I could reappear in that point, but with all my memories, and then presumably live a diverging life, do things totally differently.
Yeah.
But I don't really. If I did that, then I'd be back in my head back then, and my brain would be my brain, and my neurons, and the connections would be the connections, and I wouldn't remember anything from the future. It doesn't make sense to me. I would be me then, and it'd be, if you could watch from the outside, it'd be sad. I'd just carry on and do all the same daft things, do all the good things. I'd just do exactly the same again.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe.
What if you end up being like this kind of locked in passenger? You're like this, you're just like, don't do it. You become your own conscience. And you're like, no, don't do it.
You know, I mean, if you're angry or something, and you have when you have like a secondary emotion, you're happy about something or you're sad about something, you feel like you're angry that you're sad, or you do you know what I mean? If you sometimes you might be angry and you can sort of you're amused by it because it's daft, and you might be happy, but you might be, I don't know, attracted and ashamed or whatever. So you have these secondary emotions, and you could be in that situation. Maybe that secondary emotion is you reliving it. It's you the second time through.
Yeah. Is you there eating the ice cream from the tub with the ladle? Like, oh, I'm so happy. I don't want to do this. I'm disgusting. I can totally picture that. Like there at back at like GCSE, back at like A level. That little voice in my head that was saying, "No, you really should study. No, you really should study now."
That was future you reaching back.
It seems to be, yeah.
Oh, I was going to try and do something time travel related, but I'm not even clever enough to think what that thing was by making some comment now and then coming back to it later. But I needed to plan.
I can sort that out in the edit if you want.
Yeah, do that. You think this version's bad if you'd heard it without the edit?
I got well. Let's not stick to the list then, because I think we've come up against like one of the interesting problems that I was hoping to get round to is this kind of free will. Like if you did go back into your past self, this free will thing, and I think we've spoken about how we struggle to grapple with free will before.
Yeah, we have.
But I don't know if time travel is possible. Does that mean free will isn't? Like,
I'm not sure. I mean, in my made up idea of traveling back through a memory,
mm,
then I feel like I'm totally stuck at that point, and I'm just in the same body and gonna do the same thing, and that leads to a scary thing for free will. I mean, that you don't really have any free will, which is probably what I think anyway. I just don't really want to accept.
well, there could be an interesting tie in there because isn't there some uh, philosophical thing where like uh, thought is reality kind of thing, isn't it? Like thought dictates reality, or that might just be one of these self-help guru
You might have
slogans.
just made it up, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of thing people would pay to hear. It's like, so I could just imagine that I'm healthy and the right weight and successful, and I will be. It's that easy. Yes, yes.
I was going to come on to Red Dwarf because there's some great Red Dwarf time travel, but
Oh yeah,
that's reminded me of a non-time travel. There's an episode, Better Than Life, and it's a
yeah,
computer game, and you kind of live out your own fantasies, and you steer it by what you want to happen. And Rimmer's life in that ends up being miserable
yeah,
because that's who he is. I mean, it's yeah. So you could think like, well, if I can control my own life, then why aren't I super rich, whatever. But actually, clearly that's not what you want because you are controlling your own life and you are what you are. So that's definitely from the self-help section.
Thanks. Wow,
From my anti-library with the self-loathing section.
It's not so much
Getting a
self.
bit too.
What's the opposite of self? Like outside. Not self-help. It's assisted hindrance. The assisted hindrance section. You are the way you are because you want to be. Deal with it. It's a short book.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? You.
You.
But
I forgot what the question was.
we were talking about free will, and I thought like this in this way that some people say that thought can dictate like the reality. Like you can choose to feel how you want to feel at any given moment. Like you're in a situation, and say you're like lost in a city somewhere, walking around in a city, and you're like, oh, this. You can either think, oh, this is terrible, and all the worry and everything can come on, and it's like, what's the worst case? Or you can choose to think, this is exciting, this is interesting. I've never been here before, you know. And so the reality of the situation is both of those things. It just depends how you kind of think about it. I think
I half agree.
okay, all right. My
I
point is,
well,
in your situation where you go back into yourself, if you bring all your memories with you, then the difference in the way you can interpret the situation you're in might skew off this causal line.
yeah, I totally agree with that. If you could take all your memories with you, then you'd be. I mean, I'm a different person now to who I was then.
Yeah.
Any then, just by having lived through the various experiences. So I would almost certainly do some things differently. Probably some things better and some things worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would be different, wouldn't it? I was gonna disagree with you, Lost in a City, to say that I agree that if you're lost in a city, you might think of it as a great experience, enjoy it, or as you might be terrified and afraid and sad and angry and whatever because you're lost. But I don't know that you can choose to think one of those things. I think the way you are dictates how you feel about it. So you might be the kind of person who, but if you're the kind of person who hates that sort of thing, you probably just hate that sort of thing. If you've chosen to do it, you're the kind of person who chooses to like it.
What if you?
It's a bit of a recursive kind of argument, I think.
Yeah, but what if you're self-aware enough? What's it called? Mindfulness.
Yeah.
That you're aware that you might have a tendency to worry about it.
Then
I
you're
suppose
the
I
kind
take
of
your point.
person who is aware that you have,
Yes.
you're the kind of person who's aware that you might have a tendency, and then
Yeah, true. I see the
I don't know.
cyclicness of your argument there. Yeah.
Which I don't. It doesn't make it a good argument. I don't know that it makes it a wrong argument.
Yeah. I guess if you're the kind of if you've got a kind of chronic worry about things, like if you're like obsessive compulsive, you can't just decide I'm not obsessive compulsive, that kind of thing. Yeah. Or if you're depressed, you can't just decide not to be depressed. Yeah, I wasn't trying to take it that
Yeah,
far.
I think that's a good example.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
so you totally can't, can you?
no.
But yeah, and I don't know if you can ever change your own feelings without some external nudge, because you are who you are, and if you decide something, then given all the same inputs, you would have made the same decision.
Yeah. We're just gonna have to like flip coins all the time,
Yeah.
Decisions come round. It's like just have to do what the coin says. I've actually done that before. I've actually gone somewhere like at university. There was a group of us, and we were just sitting around, and they were like, "Oh, what should we do? I don't know what to do. Oh, should we do? Nah, I don't fancy that. What should we do?" I was like, "Right, come on, just gonna go." Like, but where? Doesn't matter. Just go. And we like walked out, and then we got
Frozen
to.
again on my screen.
Oh, yeah, dear. I can still hear you, so I'm just gonna carry on. Yeah, and we were in. We just set off walking, and it was like whenever we got to a junction, it was flip a coin and heads is left and tails is right. And then we just came across somewhere. I can't remember where we ended up. Probably a pub. It was probably a pub.
Doesn't sound random at all.
No, well, in the middle of Manchester, it's pretty. The odds are against you missing a pub,
I like that idea. I've briefly and at a significant distance just followed a person before, just to like I can't decide where to go. I'll just go where they're going. I'll go that way. Have you ever done that if you're lost? You just like follow the majority of people, and they tend to be going towards.
Oh, I've done that when I'm not sure. Sometimes I've done it out of embarrassment, like in London, like on the tube and stuff. Like, oh, everybody's going this way. I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing. It looks like I'm going this way. But,
Which way on this line is it? I'm just going to go this way.
By the same token, I've also been that person that's walking one way down the street and everybody has seen all of a sudden just turn around and walk back the other way. Like, and you pat your pockets like, oh no, I've forgotten my keys. that kind of rubbish. But,
so maybe you changed your mind. Can you change your mind? I've stood for inordinately long times looking at a meal deal in the supermarket, trying to decide if I have any free will or if I'm just going to sandwich.
Deep thoughts there in the meal
well,
deal
it's
aisle.
difficult. I mean, I think maybe only really because you generally can't control the big things; they kind of happen to you. But you've got a lot of choice on the little things. Like if you go into a supermarket, you get to choose your sandwich, your drink, and your bag of crisps, or a chocolate bar, madness, or some fruit, whatever.
If you're so inclined, yeah.
If you're so inclined. I mean, Beefy Monster Munch are clearly the top choice on the crisps, so that's almost made its own mind up. I mean, yeah.
We're never going to stop fishing for sponsors on this podcast. No, Beefy Monster Munch. Put that on the list. Yep.
And then they added those smoothies in at the Tesco one, so you can get a smoothie, and they were quite nice. Yeah. So that only really left the sandwich to choose.
How did you break out of this thought loop of, do I have free will? Can I really choose?
I sometimes wonder if I'm still there. Everyone's saying to me, "Come on, it's time to go." We don't even have time to eat our lunch anymore. We're gonna go back to work.
Like sometimes Jen will be like that with some, like, choosing a dessert, and sometimes like back when I used to eat puddings, I'd have to do the couple thing. I was like, well, I'll get one and you get the other, and we can swap out. Da, da, da. But now it's just her. So it's like, I don't know which one, should I get this or that, and I'll just say, you're getting this one, and she'll be like, It's like, right, if you're thinking about it, then you don't really want that one. You want the other one, then get the other one. Okay. But what if... No, you want that one. Doesn't matter. We'll come back. You're gonna have to flip a coin. You're gonna have to introduce some chance and chaos.
I kind of like the idea of that. I don't know what decisions I would trust to a coin flip.
Or maybe you have to make... Maybe 50-50 is a bit too coarse. Like you need something with a bit more resolution, a bit more choice and chance. You'll be there in the supermarket aisle just throwing darts over your shoulder to see what it sticks in the meal deal section.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want that one. Just put it back. Get a hole in it. I'll get this sandwich, but not this one because it's gonna die.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to make a totally free choice? I mean, I don't know what it means, but I've literally spent like 10 minutes staring at the sandwich, trying to work out if I'm actually making this choice.
I don't always get that. I get like I've got perfectionism quite badly. I'm generally quite a perfectionist. That's why, like, for this podcast and stuff, I'll spend hours and hours and hours like working out the design of it all and doing the layout and finding the fonts and the colours that work and all this, that, and it's like, I know I do too much of it, but I can't not. So I just have to accept it. But that's not really a free will thing. When it comes to choosing stuff, I get impatient with myself and end up just going with one, and I just decide, meh. You know, just get on with it, do it. Like, because any choice is better than no choice. Kind of the argument that comes.
It's a good philosophy that even a wrong decision, just a decision made, is so often better than
It's
indecision.
like that. It's like that. You know, a stopped clock is better than a slow clock.
Yeah.
It's still right twice. You know, it's kind of the opposite of that, then, really.
I mean, yeah, that one's it just depends. I mean, a clock that's moving and is 5 minutes slow is kind of useful, but
it takes something like 264 years for it to become right again. It's something like that. It's something stupid.
Yeah.
And you think the person that worked that out is somebody that took the time to work it out instead of, you know, winding the clock on. You think, what a waste of time.
Like trying to win an argument with the wife, wasn't he? Why don't you wind the clock? Look, a stopped clock. Let me explain this to you.
Yeah, it's that
mansplain this to you. That's definitely.
I'm gonna have to put a trigger warning on this episode now. We're not going to get into that one in this episode. If we're going to get an episode banned, it's going to be a one that is intended to be banned outright rather than one that's just off the cuff banned.
I'd still like to play that game, see what it takes to get one banned.
Well, you're free to start your own channel, and obviously,
Are
you free? Do you have the free will to choose to start your own channel?
I already know I'm not going to do that.
So no, I don't.
But I guess I'm choosing to not do.
Fair enough.
Whenever I email Fletcher, I include in white font, so it's invisible. Words like and
That is some serious cryptographic.
because I know Google's reading them and I want them to. I just want to know what happens if you always sound like you're doing something wrong.
You're gonna get him deported.
Yeah, maybe I should stop.
Yeah. Anyway, but didn't they like solve the free will problem or argument with time travel with like these parallel universe theory thing? Like, so you don't go back to the same universe at the same point in time.
I think free will and time travel are kind of orthogonal, really. I'm not sure that. I'm quite possibly wrong about that, but in my mind, if there's a decision on free will, it's that it doesn't exist. And if there's a decision on time travel, it's that you can go back in time, but if you go forwards, you don't go forwards to the same place that you came from.
Yeah.
I have no references for this for these conclusions. This is science fact.
Yeah, but this is the modern internet age. All you have to do is speak with authority on something, and people, at least we're doing people the decency of admitting that we don't know. I was coming across it. Like before I started recording, I was talking to you about this story I'm trying to work out with time travel, and I was trying to work out that kind of causal link of if we're in the if we're getting kind of like a communication from the future, I don't know where I'm going on this one, but it was something similar to what you were saying, and the analogy that I was trying to come up with in the story was like laying a path, like literally laying a path. Like from in the future, you could look at the path and you could say that this slab was laid here in this position on this date at this time. And you could say that for all of the slabs up to the one you're on right now, right at the end. But from when it was happening, there was, that slab could have been laid somewhere different. It's only because they're in that point in the future they can see it backwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There could be the.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's
a good analogy.
But the free will argument thing, let's say they go back and shoot your granddad problem. If you could go back in time and you had a gun and you came across your grandfather, like before he'd had your father, and you shot him, then you'd cease to exist, which meant you can't go back in time and do it. So something will stop you.
Yeah, this is what's it called? It must be on the list. Whose time travel movie is this? This is a Back to the Future kind of time travel problem.
Yeah.
When they have that kind of paradox. Yeah, I don't buy it. I think you could go back in time, shoot yourself even, and you'd be you present would be totally fine because it didn't happen to you in your past. That's a different you, or you wouldn't be there doing it. So that's maybe I'm forcing some kind of multiverse or something in my version of time travel by saying that.
Yeah, that's where the parallel universe thing comes from. The argument for free will, and because the idea is that you wouldn't be able. You decide not to shoot them. Although I don't know how they wangle it, because they do it differently in different films, that kind of choice. Because in some it's like some actual event will happen that will stop you if you're intent on doing it, and you will do it if you have the opportunity. Some kind of other event happens, like he'll duck, or the gun will jam and you'll get discovered, or they do it in those different kind of ways. It was always bound to happen.
Yeah, I quite like that sort of that sort of thing. It's the inevitability, and the whole way through it seems like you've got choices and you're making decisions, and things go wrong and things go right, and the whole thing seems like a roller coaster. And in the end, you're exactly where you were always going to be. Yeah, when they're done well, that kind of movie, I think it's entertaining. What made the list then? What made the list of movies?
I don't know that. Like, since we've been talking, I've been thinking, is Butterfly Effect is a time travel movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I can't really remember it well.
No, I'm sure I've seen it. I don't remember it that well either.
It like can go back through his diary. He can read his entries and go back and.
Yeah, and I think the Butterfly Effect reference is to him changing things in the past, right? Having massive ripples all over it. That's another classic time travel, isn't it? The causality kind of, you tread on a dinosaur or whatever, and you change all of history. People no longer exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put down, obviously, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Interstellar. Because it's not really time travel as such. It's just it's the way time is different. Traveling so close to like a supermassive black hole, how time slows down for you.
Yeah, they do time travel, don't they? He when he gets sucked, does he get sucked into the black hole? He does, doesn't he? And then he can communicate through gravity, something like that.
Spoilers, yeah.
Oh yeah, spoilers everywhere. It's what it's really good. And at the same time, there's like some real crap bits to it. I mean, it's exciting and it's kind of big, isn't it? Did we see that at the IMAX?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was like a good place to see it, but
that is kind of this is kind of a bit of a tangent, but it's kind of one of the defining moments for me, like as a person, getting to know myself, kind of thing. When we went to see that film, because it was pretty recently after we'd had a first kid, and like they say, like having kids changes you, and you're like, yeah, okay, and like you don't really realize until you do, and everybody says that you don't know until you've done it, but and it sounds a bit condescending, but I didn't realize until I had, put it that way. And we went to see this big epic sci-fi. Christopher Nolan does 2001, on the IMAX. It's like a massive score by Hans Zimmer and brilliant visuals and all this kind of out in space and this and that. And I'm pretty much in tears at this film because it's this dad leaving his daughter. I was like, can't do that. I was like, that is a real defining moment for me. It's like, yeah. But yeah, anyway.
yeah.
But I like that film. It's like they did put a lot of physics research stuff into it. I think they were some of the first to do an accurate visualization of a black hole.
Yeah, it's a simulation, isn't it? The effects they use are some computer generated simulation of real equations of a black hole, I think.
Yeah, it's like this lensing effect of how you could, like the disc that's going around, like a ring of Saturn kind of thing, going around this black hole, which is actually a sphere. But the hole bends the light of the disc behind, so you can see the disc that would be behind the planet up above it and below it at the same time. You get to see the top and bottom of it bent round. It's really cool. But you kind of have to know that's going on in order for the visuals to really kind of make sense.
Yeah. I can't remember. It's long, and it's another movie that feels like it has almost another part to it. I think I'd have to watch it again. I feel like watching it has one story that would be like a normal movie, and then it has another story just like chucked in there.
What's this, Interstellar?
Yeah.
I got another
All right,
two on the list.
what else?
I put Looper on.
Looper, yeah.
Looper. And I think it's called. I should have researched this before this. Called Primer, is it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna watch that again. It's great.
I think I've seen it once,
Yeah, me too.
and it's got a real indie feel to it, and it seems to make some kind of sense. It seems to be grounded on something. I can't really
It's the
remember.
one they made it for a budget of like $5,000 or something.
Yeah,
Is it that one? It's yeah. I seem to remember being really enjoying that. It's it's got loads of twists and it all seems kind of inwardly logical.
yeah.
Yeah.
That one was quite
The
good.
other one that I was thinking about while kind of relevant to what we were talking about before was have you seen Arrival?
Yes, I like that one. I keep
Yeah,
trying to
I like.
find it again.
I've got it, and I've got the book with it that has a few short stories by the same guy. You might like. I can't remember his name. I can't remember. But
Yeah,
that's sort of time travel. It's one that has
yeah,
an inevitability. It's like she can see time, and she does. Information does get passed back through time.
yeah.
So the future does change the present or the past, depending on where you are when you think about it. She gets the guy's phone number or something from the future, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that, maybe. Because the rest of it is like it can't be changed. It's like there's an inevitability.
Hmm.
But that bit, oh, that's interesting. I'd not really thought about that before. I'd kind of in my mind just thought of it as like nothing changes. She just she knows about it, but she kind of has to live it, experience it in a weird order.
Yeah. I quite like that film. Really,
Yeah,
it looks good as well. I like the visuals on it. It's got my kind of bleak bleak style to it.
yeah. I
But
like the idea that you just start from the assumption. You start off with an assumption that someone is sending information back.
Yeah,
And you think, if I was going to send information back, how would I do it? And you might not be able to build a transmitter, but maybe you could build a detector to detect the kind of things that you would
yeah.
send back. So it's like really speculative. You need people to invest stupid amounts of money on a thing that probably doesn't exist. And you'd be like total cooks, and it'd be you'd be on all the like conspiracy theorists would love you because you'd be doing this crazy thing, and then well, it
that's
just
where
might
you
be right. It just
that's where
could be
you've got to
real.
get the funding from. Then that's where the funding's coming from.
Yeah, and taking money off them is a good thing. So yeah.
uh,
I don't know. I'm thinking like a photon is its own antiparticle, isn't it? So a photon is a photon traveling backwards and forwards in time. I can't think of what I know about gravity. Um,
again, I've not researched. The only thing I can think of is this. You know, when they do the rubber sheet um example for like space time, and they put heavy
yeah, yeah,
balls on it to deform space time. These wells, and that's kind of what gravity is. Uh, Gravity waves are these ripples in that sheet, which isn't actually a sheet. It's like a three-dimensional,
yeah.
four-dimensional, whatever thing. Just
You could
can't
imagine
picture.
like air pressure or something, couldn't you? Or like a heat map.
Yeah,
But my problem with that is maybe that because it's a dent in space time, so it's kind of feels
mm,
like it's tied to time. In that is a displacement of some force at that time. So it's traveling through time in the same way that we are.
right. Okay.
Of course, we know very little about this.
we can speculate. We can speculate.
I've got some other movies in mind. I'm gonna look around my shelf, and I mean Terminator. The Terminator ones are good. There's
I
some
don't know
classics.
them well enough to
Oh,
talk about them.
like I mean the premise of the first couple at least is an AI from the future
Hmm.
sends back it sends back a killer robot into the past to kill the mother of the guy who will eventually lead a resistance against them and defeat them.
Okay.
So they're trying to change the past. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
They fail because we're on the side of the people again. Ah.
Ah, dear.
There's one called Predestination that I'm trying to get clear. I can't remember it well enough because Katie won't watch it with me. She doesn't like mind bending time travel movies like that. Have you ever seen it?
Predestination, no.
Destination. Then I'm not gonna spoil
No.
it.
Okay.
It's Ethan Hawke,
Oh, yeah.
a film by the. I thought that said Spielberg. I've never heard of Spielberg Brothers. That's because it's not. It's Spearig Brothers.
It's like the Aldi version.
Yeah.
It's close enough for you to read it as Spielberg.
Okay, I'm not gonna ruin that. It's really good. Worth a watch.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I was thinking about. There's some good Red Dwarf episodes with some time travel in.
Yeah.
That sprung to mind.
What's that one with Jake Gyllenhaal? He keeps getting sent back onto this train. Find some.
Source Code.
That's the one. That's the one. I was trying to say it without spoiling the ending.
I can't remember it. I've definitely seen it. I don't remember it well, but I've scrolled past it a couple of times on Netflix or Amazon and
It's
nearly watched it again.
interesting. It's interesting, like the way, like he's like they can send his consciousness back to this one into somebody else's at a particular point in time, and he has to find. I think it's there's a bomb on the train kind of thing, and he has to find out where it is so that they can stop it happening. And it goes. I guess he's not going into the past. Is he going? He's going into the future. I can't remember which way around it is now. But he keeps trying and it keeps failing. And it keeps getting blown up and keeps getting blown up, and they can keep sending him back. But there's only like a certain. They've only got like a certain window of opportunity. Like this, that's a storytelling device of you can't have ultimate power without a price. But is that was quite interesting. But like stuff happens in the same way if he acts in the same way, but as soon as he changes what he does, like different things. If in the future then this thing exists, like you can send information. You can send information back in time. Okay, maybe not significant distance, like 1 week. You can send information back 1 week. What do you think people would do with it? And who would the people be?
I mean, without it'd be money, right? I mean, money would be the first motivator. It might be the motivator in the purest way possible to get money to do good or to improve the thing.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's going to come down to money. So one of the ways you'd know if it was happening, perhaps, is if I don't know if someone won the lottery like a few times in a row or started making ridiculously good trades, and you wouldn't want to get caught, would you? So you'd have to get caught, but to arouse suspicion. I mean, it'd be a terrible idea to win the lottery every week.
Yeah.
Because it's so unlikely. There would have to be something going on, so people would have to find an explanation. And similarly with trading, you'd draw attention to yourself really easily, wouldn't you? So, assuming you didn't want to get caught, and maybe you just like win the lottery every week, and you just like screw you all. I mean, I'm picking the numbers, I'm getting it right. This is the deal. It's a fair draw. I'm winning. But
yeah. I mean,
would
it count as illegal?
There's no law against it. It's a bit like like some digital things. Laws take a while to catch up, don't they? If this time travel existed, there'd be no laws yet. be clear. It's pretty clear what's reasonable and what's fair and what's right, perhaps. But
Yeah.
it's a bit scary to start changing things. I mean, so
Yeah.
if you know there's going to be a terrorist attack, say, and you stop it happening, I mean that's pretty agreeably good.
Mm.
If this was a movie, then you'd save 3 people and one of those people would be a serial killer or something. So you'd you'd save 3 people and one of those people would go on to kill a dozen people, and you'd just be
Yeah.
you'd be worse off on numbers, but
But morally superior. Yeah.
morally superior. Yeah, it's okay because you could catch him as well. I mean, it'd be the price. You could demand virtually any price for any bit of knowledge a week in advance, or for a lot of bits of knowledge a week in advance.
Yeah.
What could you even do? I mean, suppose you were trying to do a really complicated calculation.
Mm.
Could you run it and then take a snapshot and send it back a week, and then so you could effectively run an infinitely complicated thing by passing the result at the end of a week back in time.
Development times would come right down.
Yeah.
It would be it'd be within the range of it'd be within.
Maybe you're not allowed to look because it'd be a week, or or
I
maybe
was
you're not
just thinking
allowed
that,
to
but it
change what you
wouldn't, like,
send back.
say you've got like a physical product that you're wanting to develop.
Yeah.
And okay, you start out with a design and you're like, right. So we're on Monday.
Yep.
And then you're like, right, okay, I'll do the development this week. And then it gets to Sunday, right, we've got this far. Send this back in the time machine. Okay, so you're back at Monday again, but you've got this week's worth of development in front of you already and a head start.
Is this a physical thing? I was only sending like ones and zeros back, but if we can send back like real physical things.
No, but you could send the design of it.
Oh yeah.
You send the information about it back.
Yeah.
And because you're trying to develop it to be able to do something. So like Elon Musk trying to get SpaceX to Mars, right?
Yeah.
So if every week a week's worth of development was sent back to the start of the week, you'd be a week ahead already on Monday. So you get through to Sunday and you've done a week more. You send it back again. So now you're 2 weeks ahead on Monday.
Yeah. So everything would take 1 week. It's just that 1 week.
But after that 1 week, you say, right, we've got the final design. Send it back to Monday. So on Monday, you've done no development and you've got the final thing already. You basically just ask the machine, right, I want to know, I want a machine that can levitate, water the garden and make toast. Bing. There it is. It's taken like 20,000 weeks, but here it is.
Yeah.
Where's you've had to do nothing. Like you didn't even have to do that first week. Like so, where's the work gone?
That's crazy. So that feels like it's a thing that we can just say is impossible. It's got to be violating every law imaginable.
I just want to circle back because something you said was really a lot you said is really interesting. But one thing that I latched onto was
nice recovery.
Yeah, thank you. And one of them was, if somebody's winning the lottery every week, or if somebody's putting trades on. I thought that's quite interesting because if somebody won the lottery out of the blue, like they'd never bought a ticket before in their life, and they bought one and it won, nobody would be suspicious. Like it would be, oh, there are some lucky so-and-sos in this world, aren't there?
Yeah.
Can't believe that, why not me? But if a trader came out of nowhere and put their first ever trade on, kind of thing, they took a punt and made a fortune out of it, and so that would be suspicious immediately, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely more suspicious. I mean, and if you started doing things like you'd sell uncovered options because you could make crazy amounts of money with very little startup money, and you could do that if you knew the result already.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would be one way with very little input to make a lot of money. I mean, it's like stupidly high risk if you didn't know the answer, but if you know the answer, then fine. But that'd be crazy. I mean, anyone who looked at it would say, I mean, you're a week away from bankruptcy, and then you've won.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd be wanting to do things that if you became like a bank, you'd be wanting to take risks that no one would allow you to take that weren't really risks because you know the answer. But
Yeah.
no same person would let you take it. I mean, you'd be a fool not to invest every penny, right? If you knew the result of every game, you should be.
Oh man, this time travel information machine's just going to be owned by insurance companies.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we're not insuring you this year. What? What's
Why?
gonna happen?
We can't tell you that. It's GDPR. We can't give out personal information.
Yeah. Future you hasn't signed a release. I'll sign
He
one now.
can't.
He
He
can't.
can't.
Yeah. Oh. Oh
Horrendous.
yeah. So I mean, that's some information about when you're gonna die and that kind of thing. That's
Oh, dear me.
a scary thought. If you could know, would you want to?
Nah,
Huh?
don't think so.
I don't want to know, but if I could know, I would probably want to know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, only
I
because
was
I know you.
reading. I was reading about Huntington's disease
All right.
recently-ish. So if it's really debilitating. I think it kicks in your 30s or 40s, and you get shakes and you get mental decline, and I think you die pretty young.
Yeah.
And it's hereditary as well. There's a test for it. So like apparently some people who know that one of their parents has it, so it's
Hmm.
50-50 if they've got it or not. And apparently some people don't get the test. Some people do and some people don't. I'm phrasing it that way because to me it's absolutely mind blowing that you would not get the test. But is that to you? Is it?
It's not mind blowing to me that somebody would choose not to get the test now. I.
My brain can't compute. I'm just like, what? did you misspeak? You mean it's
you,
mind blowing that somebody
you
would not get the test?
you understand what you're saying, right? You're going against what I think. Let's.
So you're wrong. You know you're wrong.
Or you're just doing it to piss me off.
They're the only possible explanations.
Yeah, I mean, what can you change? Like through what? So your two options. Well, hang on. There's
I
probably
mean, you
more.
could not invest in a pension for a start.
Cash it all out now.
Cash it all. Like, I mean, you may wish to smoke more, drink more, do all the things that are likely to kill you when you get old. I mean, they are without consequence.
Oh well, I see. Yeah, it could be. Well, yeah, it could be a freeing situation.
Either way, I mean, if you find out you've not got it, and that's great. That changes everything.
You
That'd
could.
be a load off. But you find out you have, then that should also change the way you live. You should reassess risk differently.
Yeah.
Your long-term versus short-term planning should totally change. I don't really plan, but I still have in my mind some sort of risk engine that is like, well, I mean, if I take this risk, then I stand to lose what 30 to 40 years of good life, and maybe another decade or so of life. But if I've got Huntington's, then well, I mean, I'm on the downhill slide right now, so I can, yeah, I can do anything. Juggle chainsaws? Sure, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
I can't understand why you would not know. Why would you not want to know?
Well, it's. I think like it could circle back to this argument. You can choose how you want to feel about a situation. Like, say Your choices are take the test or not take the test. If you don't take the test, you can kind of exist in the way that you are now, like oblivious to when your
We'll
inevitable
call
demise
this
is.
what are the big birds that can't fly, bury their head in the sand? What are they? I forgot what they're called.
Ostrich.
Damn it! I have got it. I've got dementia or something. Yeah, ostriches. We'll call this the ostrich approach.
Yeah, it's very, very, very weighted choice of words. I think you got there. It's very
Eventually
loaded.
got that with help. Yeah.
So yeah, so you could. I mean, you currently right now you don't know your end date.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of live. That is the norm. Well, I don't know. For me, so far, it's been the norm. Or you can choose to take the test, and then the outcome's there. You've either got it or not. So you don't have it, then great. I don't have it. I'm still in the
That's the
same
best
situation.
result, right? That for everybody, that's the best result. Take the test, find that you've not got it. That's got to be the best result for.
Yeah, but the
second best result you think might be to not take the test and not know.
Well, I would say that if the best result there is that you take the test and you don't have it, and then your current life situation is exactly the same as it was before. Like, you don't know your ultimate demise. It's some way off in the future. Probably further than it would have been, but it's still some point way off in the future.
Yeah. I'm assuming at point 0 that you do know there's a chance you may have it. So I feel like at that point there's a load off.
Okay,
it's not just a neutral,
okay,
I don't know when I'm going to die. I know that I'm going to live a normal length life kind of situation.
Yeah, okay. So then we're trying to work out what's tied for second place.
So is it sufficiently bad to find out that you do have it? Yeah, is it bad enough to find out that you do have it that it is not worth the risk of finding out you do have it? That not worth taking the chance to find out you don't have it. It's better to just not know. Oh, I mean, I'm going to struggle to be convinced, but I'm interested to hear any argument.
Oh man, I don't know. If the only impact that it would have would be on me, then I can see the motive for not wanting to know.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if it were to affect like family and everything like that, and finding out, because it wasn't Huntington's, it was something else. As a family member, there was a hereditary thing in their family, and they'd not wanted to get the test for it.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty much like a 50-50 thing. And that had been the way they'd gone on. But it got to the point where they were thinking of starting a family. So because it's hereditary, it would be advantageous to know whether it would be worth doing it.
Yeah.
So they did. And don't have it. So it worked out for the best. But yeah, that's I don't know. I think I'm just more. I don't want to say
human, aren't you?
Yeah. It's more emotionally connected. Should we say? Should we say that?
Oh, irrational. That's what you're trying to say.
Oh, so you're gonna go off on that? No, less of a sociopath, I think. And
yeah, so we've got the choice between the ostrich approach or the enlightened approach. We'll pick those two names just at random.
We're going to use what we like to call the right way, and
the right way, or Jack's way.
Well, that was a nice.
I mean, there are some good arguments for maybe not being genetically tested, because then it's probably a matter of record. You wouldn't be able to get insurance and things like that. But
oh man, yeah. Yeah.
and it's also your genetic record is near identical to your kids and your parents. So I mean, if your genetic information is available somehow to medical companies and that's compromised in any way, then they
Yeah.
know a lot about you and your family. That's a little bit scary. That's scary with like private DNA tests because I think they they own that information then.
I find those very, very spooky things. I'm not intending on getting one
No,
done.
but and if you do, I think you should ask consent for any relative within quite a. I mean, anything between grandparents, great grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles. I mean, they all share so much genetic information with you. It's a little bit unfair
Is
to
that
put that
thing where
information out
is this that thing within like 7 generations you're related to Kevin Bacon? Is that how it works?
there. Yeah.
Like something like that. Okay. So, well, I think we could wrap this one up. Like, we decided we kind of touched on what we would do with it, but I don't know whether that's. We decided that it would probably be in the hands of the money and probably be used to get the money.
Yeah.
But what?
I mean, we could bypass that, right? I mean, if we just assume that whatever superpower we get, we're going to use it to get some money. That's going to let us do the thing that we really want to do. I don't know. For me, I have no great wish to accumulate money. I just don't want to have to do any other kind of legitimate work to gain money. So once I have a bit, I'm going to leave the world alone. I'm not going to cause any problems. I'm probably not going to do any great good either. But
You're pretty
not super villain, not super evil.
benevolent, is it?
Yeah,
Is that the right word?
benign. I think is the.
Yeah. What if like it was like an app on your phone? What if this
Oh man, that's scary. Message
few,
yourself a week ago.
yeah.
Oh my god! Remember when text message was 10p a message? You're like, how much would that be?
Oh man.
Here you go. It's like it's £1,000,000 a message, but you can send a message to yourself a week ago. You'd be like, well, I mean, easily you can get £1,000,000. But, well, I say easily. This is one of those things that you're like, well, of course you can. But then you and half the rest of the world has won the lottery, and now the jackpot's divided by. That's a total waste of time.
They'll have to.
Shares, I mean, shares are interesting, aren't they? Because every big company knows a week in advance. So you've just kind of like shifted a week. And the predictions take into account what's going to happen a week in the future.
Oh yeah, but then
Using this as being like a week as the most you can transmit again as an example, man.
yeah, but it's like a feedback loop though. So you'll get. Oh, that's an interesting way of thinking about it. You know, you hold a microphone up to a speaker. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like that time travel loop thing. You get this, feedback howl. Maybe there's something like that in the
Yeah,
stock
I'm
market
trying to
just suddenly
decide
goes,
if it'd be.
whoa! Stock market just suddenly goes mega, mega crazy, super volatile.
Yeah, it could. I was trying to think if it could have a dampening effect, but maybe it'd be like really volatile instead at it.
Because
I
like
don't know.
because not everybody is getting the same information back at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it
So
feels like the best informed people right now would then just be the best informed people. Like plus a week, like me and you, we'd know nothing a week in advance, but
yeah, but like
some big companies they'd know.
so if like the company one, they're somebody trading on them gets the information bang on midnight and sends it
Yeah.
back as soon as, and then it's enacted upon. It's already happened.
Yeah.
So it affects the
wow.
market. So then it radically changes for the person wanting to send the information back at like 5 minutes past midnight.
Yeah.
So it would just.
But it's already happened. So
Yeah.
like it's had a week to settle down again, and then oh man.
No, but the time travel closes that week. That week doesn't actually exist.
No, the previous week didn't exist.
I know. I'm talking from Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's assume you can't go back. Yeah, like you have to go. Maybe you have to go back a week, but then you can't go back the same week. You have to move forwards a bit before you can go back again. So you can go at midnight, and then at 1 minute past midnight or something, and then 2 minutes past
Okay,
midnight you can go back. So you have to progress. You can't just keep looping the same week, even if it's only by like tenths of a second.
right.
Let's assume that, I don't know, it takes. You start sending the message at midnight, but the message takes 10 seconds to send.
Okay, right. It's got a latency to
So
it.
it goes back a week, but it's arriving at 10 seconds past midnight.
Right.
And then your next one you're gonna send a week. Yeah, so something like that.
But
Just
then
so time can keep moving.
everybody trading on this company
Yeah.
gets the information like, right, you should drop everything you've got into this company right now. It's gonna go sky high.
Yeah.
But then everybody does. So it does.
Yeah.
Like,
At the end, it's gotta come down to what its fundamental value is, right? I mean, it
I
doesn't.
want to
It's so
know.
detached. The price is so detached from the fundamentals now. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Which is
man.
because people like like me anyway, we've no interest in reading about the fundamentals and what the company actually does or is worth. We just want to trade on numbers. I mean, that's
Yep.
things that you can put into a computer program and you don't have to do anything.
It's quite funny. That's quite ironic, really, isn't it? Isn't it like the day traders that do it based on just the graph and the patterns and the like what's it called? Bollinger Bands and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Aren't they called trading on the fundamentals? Isn't that what it's called when you do it based off the graph?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I
Maybe.
think it is. It's something like that.
I was in my mind using a word that probably isn't used for that to distinguish between like data and
Yeah.
actual hardware and stuff that the company,
Mm.
the value that the company really has in what it does and what it owns. And somehow it has some inherent value that's solid and concrete, and people and skills and stuff. And then it has this number that you play with. That's the impression that's like based a bit on what it does and what it's worth and what it might do, and a bit on what everyone else thinks it's worth and what it might do, and now a bit on what what it did in the week before you sent your message back in time.
So if this messaging service existed, then you'd use it to tell yourself to put a trade on.
I mean,
I'm not above that in no way.
I don't know what I don't really know what else I would. The idea of like just buying a winning lottery ticket and then you're kind of sorted, right? You can you can get on with doing stuff that's fun.
Yeah.
But then, so suppose I'm fine for money. I have no, I have enough to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be like you idiot, you forgot to put the recycling out again. I'm gonna send myself a reminder for that. Reminder, oh shit, it was your anniversary, or what, all this kind of stupid stuff that
Yeah.
a simple calendar would do right now. I don't really know what I'd. I mean,
You
no,
think you'd
I don't
try
know. I don't
and
know what to do with it.
do you think you'd even try and piss yourself off? You just send
Yeah,
yourself a message. The world ends. Quick.
yeah, yeah.
What? Huh?
I guess there's some stuff. So suppose a friend has an accident or something. I mean, you can
Oh
try and
yeah.
stop that from happening.
Yeah.
You need kind of life stuff, don't you? So weird. Someone gets in a car crash, you need to say, "Don't drive today. Don't do this. Don't do that." And
Yeah.
you're gonna start interfering. I bet it'd kind of spiral. Maybe you'd go weeks without even thinking about it, and then you get in a situation where it'd be mildly beneficial, or maybe you'd just want to seem charming at the party.
No.
So you'd like, no, no. I mean, don't go to parties. I'm not
Don't
charming.
go
So, and don't care. I mean, I'm not realistically going to go to a party, find out people's names and what they like, then send myself a message back in time to research those things.
That's a lot of effort. Yeah.
That is a lot of effort. And I'm rich because I won the lottery, so why would I care? They can pretend to like me. I've already paid them to come.
You say that this should be used for like real life stuff, like
Yeah.
not real life stuff, but the real bare bones life kind of problems, big problems. But I can see it becoming so banal if it happens. It's it just becomes another one of those things. Like I bet they thought when they invented like the telephone, like this will be used for important things.
This will be 999. This will be
yeah,
yeah. This will
like
be
this.
queens and
Yeah,
prime ministers and
people
yeah.
will be able to talk long distance about the things that really matter, and like the same kind of thing with TV. Like this is we can educate the world. Yeah. Or we can bring culture into people's homes, and then you fast forward to 2020 when they're
Yeah.
abandoning people that were told are celebrities in a castle in Wales for our entertainment. The same thing will happen with the text
Yeah.
yourself app. Like people start prank calling, or you'll get spam. You'll get spam telling you you should really buy this. Yeah.
You really need insurance. Yeah.
It'll be used for the big
That's a
stuff to
crazy
begin
idea that if it could be just so trivial, you just have this app on your phone. You can. I mean, people will be doing it constantly. You'll be having I don't know how will you have a conversation? Can you reply from the past?
No, well,
You can, but it takes a week. Or
well, you could within the app, you'd just set it. Your reply would just delay to notify on your own phone by 1 week.
oh yeah, of course. I mean, how easy is that? Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Because then it is the same phone somehow. In my mind, it's kind of two phones. It's like a future phone and a past phone, but it's not. It's the same phone.
Mm.
I like the idea of a really short limit, that kind of thing. I think that might be the source code idea. They've got like 3 minutes or something that they can use.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is. There's always some. I can't remember. There's like some laws of. It's storytelling. There's somebody wrote them down. There's like laws of magic in storytelling, and like it is uh, the power of the magic can't exceed its limitations.
Yeah.
There's something like that. It can't be all. Otherwise, it's just like use the magic.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to just use the magic. I can't because such and such.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they always they run out after so many uses or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to recharge. Oh my goodness. Maybe we're just too cynical for this. Maybe there is a hopeful.
But
Maybe
if you
that's
could
what Ryan
travel,
brings. Maybe that's what Ryan brings to the.
I would never have guessed Ryan brings the hope. If you could travel back, then I don't know why you would, but if you could travel back, I don't know, 10 years, in two different ways. So one way is just to be you and redo your 10 years. This is hard without insulting wife and kids and whatnot. I'm just like, for the sake of this, just pretend they don't exist and that you're just alone here. So I'm not asking you to abandon your family.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, there's no way of looking at that that's not like saying, do you want to rewrite your life for the last 10 years? And so I don't really want to take it that way. I was just so let's look at it the other way. Can you just travel back? If you just travel back in time to any time period, travel back and forth.
Okay. Okay.
And you can have there can be some causal impact by what you do, what you change, but it's like a classic. You can travel back in time and shoot Hitler or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I mean that has some appeal, doesn't it? You can travel back, you can see some stuff, you can learn some stuff, you can maybe change some stuff. That definitely
Yeah.
has some appeal.
I'd like to think I'd do something, the whole shoot Hitler thing, but I don't know.
I don't know. It's really hard to make some kind of moral decision, and I mean, if you're the only person who can do it and only you know about it, I'm
Yeah.
not sure that it's right to just go and change things that happened. That's endless consequences. I mean,
I think we touched on this before. If you were there in front of Hitler before any of it happened, and you had a
yeah,
gun, you could. You don't know. I don't know if I would. Just from I don't know if I'd be
yeah.
able to convince myself that this person was actually going to go and do this.
I feel like I don't think I could. I mean, I'm not totally convinced that anyone has free will and that it wouldn't just play out exactly the same. But
Yeah.
I still don't think I could stand there and drop baby Hitler off a bridge.
Yep. But that kind of big impact stuff aside, yeah, there's stuff I'd do that I didn't do. But again, that's just hindsight, isn't it? I guess everybody's gonna have that.
Yeah.
That's why they have these interviews with 100-year-old people. It's like, what are your regrets? You're like, that's heartbreaking. Yeah, I could have done that, but I didn't. Yeah, well, we can all say that.
Yeah.
Even those like the big successful guru people, they'll be who say, I don't want to live with any regrets. I go out and I do what I know I need to do. You're still gonna have something. Don't know if you'll ever get away with. I think there's always something else you could have done.
Yeah, it's an opportunity cost, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can do this or that. So.
Yeah. There you go. That was time travel. We didn't manage to make it loop nice and neatly into the beginning, so we want some Groundhog Day kind of episode.
You can just listen to it again.
Yeah, there's a repeat button there. Yeah, if you're the kind of person that likes to beat yourself up, then by all means press the replay on that one. But yeah, that was time travel.